Hello everybody and welcome from the Gold Coast Aquatic Center in Gold Coast, Australia. I'm Jeff Cummings here with Swimming World contributor Wayne Goldsmith. We're going to recap the first night of finals at the Pan Pacific Championships and what a great night of racing was. Maybe the times weren't so great, Wayne, but it was great racing for all the competitors. I think the weather kind of had a little effect on it. Yeah,
it's funny you mention the weather. It's been the topic of conversation all week. And it might have been cold here, but some of the swimming was hot.
It was hot, and we're going to start with the first event of the night was the women's 200 freestyle. Katie Ledecky took the race out hard and won with a 155.74. She beat out the Australian Olympic bronze medalist Bronte Barrett, 157.22, and in third was Shannon Vreeland, 157.38. But we should note that in the B final, Missy Franklin won that B final with a 156.04, which would have gotten second, but because of the rule allowing only 2 swimmers per country, she didn't swim fast enough to get into that A final. But she definitely made a statement, not just because she's Missy Franklin and she wanted to swim faster, but because of all the issues with her back. I'm very excited to see that she was able to do that. But Katie Ledecky really showing that she's got some promise in that 200.
Yeah, and she's awesome. And just looking at her rhythm and her balance and her stroke, she's got it all. And we were all looking forward to what might have happened later on the night. But the 200, she came out and she blew them all away and looked so strong and so fast.
I thought she was maybe going to hold back just a tad in that 200 to save for the 800, but Katie never does that. She never has a race like, Ryan Lochte will sometimes do that, but she never holds back on anything. So yeah, I think this is going to become very typical of Katie. She's just going to be very dominant in the 200, 400, 800, which is something we haven't seen in a very long time.
No, she's a racer. She's a racer.
And then let's talk about racers. The men's 200 freestyle. Wow, this was a race. Thomas Fraser Holmes of Australia got the crowd roaring. He's from the Gold Coast, everybody here was cheering him on. 145.98 to get the win, and then Kosuke Hagano from Japan was coming back at the end there, 146.08, and then third was Cameron McAvoy, also of Australia, 146.36. And we got to mention fourth and fifth because they were right there. Connor Dwyer of the United States, 146.45, and Ryan Lochte, 146.75. Also, Nicholas Oliveira of Brazil was 146.98. That was 6 swimmers, all within about within 1 second of each other. You don't usually see that at the top level. You see maybe a couple people breaking away, but it was just a very interesting race. I'm sure the crowd helped.
I think they did, and particularly with Tommy Fraser Holmes being from here. His mother was in the crowd, his family was in the crowd. I think half his swim club was in the crowd, and they were going nuts, and he really delivered the goods. And there was a big question around, could he back up at the Commonwealth Games? Because the Australians have been over there, they competed okay, a lot of travel, a lot of question marks, and boy, he really answered the critics.
And I think this is going to really bode well for him next year at World Championships, and later on in the meet in the 800 free relay.
Yeah, he's only young too, and it's an event that we've seen swimmers mature into the 200 freestyle.
Right.
So I think he'll go faster.
Right, you're exactly right. And then we're going to move on to the women's 100 backstroke. Emily Seebohm took that race out hard, 28.54 at the 50, and then she held on, 58.84. Just a really fantastic swim for her. She's really kind of had some troubles since the Olympics. She didn't swim that well in 2013, so to see her come here and swim very well was a very good sign for her. Belinda Hawking gave Australia a 1-2 finish, 59.78. Missy Franklin, one of the toughest, I think we got to say she's one of the toughest swimmers out there, with not just with the back pain, but coming off that 200 freestyle, getting third, 1:00.30. Just a really good swim all around. I gotta say, like I said, Emily Seebohm, she was right there at the Olympics. Everybody thought she was gonna be able to beat Missy in that 100 backstroke. She didn't do that. And then here she comes to win the Pan Pac title in front of a home crowd. Has to be very encouraging for her.
Yeah, and look, to be honest, I didn't see Emily early on. I was looking at Missy. And to see, because I was so impressed with the 200, I thought, wow, she's going to really come out, she's going to go well, she looks strong, she looks powerful, and I thought we're going to see something special from her. And then you look around, and Emily Seebohm's under the world record split, 50 metres, man, that was fast.
I think probably if this had been a warmer day, I think maybe her body would have said, okay, we're going to get this all the way to the wall. But 58.8, I mean, not many swimmers go under 59 these days, so it's really encouraging to see. And I think she's got to be motivated for Worlds next year, where she'll be a little bit, the temperatures might be a little bit more in her favor.
Yeah, and I think, speaking a little bit as an Australian, I think they're already thinking about how tough the US are going to be in the 4x100 medley relay. And we need a really good backstroker because we don't have the strength of the USA team in some of the other form strokes. So Emily will get them off to a great start in the relay. I think that's always in the back of their mind. they win in the individual event, but they know they've got a good start for the relay.
And they'll have a great finish with Kate Campbell too,
yeah.
which we'll see her tomorrow on the 100 freestyle. All right, men's 100 backstroke, very close race here. Rysuke Uriye, who's mostly known for his 200 backstroke, he was out first at the 50, which very much surprised me because he's not known for his front end speed. And I thought if he's going to be out first at the 50, he's going to win the race, and he did. 53.02. Matt Grievers, who was 52.91 this morning, went 53.09 tonight for silver, and then Ryan Murphy, the young American, 53.27 for third. Just a really good 100 backstroke final, and we got to mention Mitch Larkin, just a 100th off the bronze medal, 53.28. You know, backstroke is kind of off and on when you swim outdoors. I mean, if there's even just a hint of wind, it throws the flags off. And Matt Griever said this morning the wind kind of threw off his turn. You know, you got just not having any marker above you, and I think maybe that threw off some of the swimmers a little bit, and just maybe a little bit of the pressure of being in the final tonight.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think the backstrokers should get 2 medals for their swims tonight, because they had the rain, they had the wind, they had the cold, they had the no markers. It was tough all around, and yeah, they all did a good job. I think the Japanese team are very, very powerful, very strong, and they also were waiting for him to get in the water, do something special, and kick their campaign off with a great start.
Yeah,
he swam well.
And his 200 backstroke in a couple of days is going to be outstanding.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not going to count out Ryan Murphy, who also he specializes in the 200 backstroke as well. All right, 800 freestyle, women's 800. I didn't think Katie Ledecky was going to even be close to her world record because of the 200 freestyle earlier. But boy, did she prove us wrong. I mean, she was under a second under her world record, I think, at the 400 and even at the 500. Kind of fell off a little bit. Probably that 200 she started to feel that 200 a little bit at the end. But to go 8:11:35 on such a tough double in these conditions, I mean, I'm starting to think if everything had been perfect on the day, we might have seen an 8:09.
Oh yeah, and she already, I hadn't seen her swim live before, and she's what I call a wow swimmer, because you're just watching her turn over some fast times, and then with 100 to go, the rating came up, the kick came in, and she finished like a train. And it was noticeable just down from where you and I were sitting that Australian Olympic silver medalist Daniel Kowalski was sitting there, former world champion short course 800, 1500 swimmer, very, very fast. He gave her a standing ovation when she hit the wall. It was a very impressive swim. She is a machine.
And I don't think the crowd really realized the magnitude of what they were seeing at the moment, because, you know, maybe it's because it wasn't an Australian that was really fighting for a medal there, but just to be able to witness something like that is something like you said, it's the first time you see her swim. I've seen her swim a few times, but it's always remarkable just to see just what kind of potential this lady has, and she's just going to continue to get better. Like I said, now I think an 8:09 is possible just because the conditions weren't perfect for her, but for her to be able to chase 8:11 today, just there are no words. There are really no words.
No, it's an awesome swim, and there's something about great athletes when they're in form and they're in a good shape. There's an effortless rhythm about her. It was really interesting from, say, the really tough laps, the 300 to around the 600, where you're really thinking about, can I keep this up? She was smooth, she was easy, she was relaxed, and the speed was just there. Yeah, she's amazing.
She exemplifies that term of the best always make it look easy.
Oh, yeah, she's good.
All right, the next event was the women's 200 fly. I think you told me something earlier about you love watching 200 fly when it's perfect. And this was maybe not the most perfect looking race. It looked like these ladies were hurting at the end, but what a great battle between Camille Adams and Natsumi Hoshi in the last 10 meters. It was interesting. I talked to Camille in the interview afterwards, and she breathes to the side. She's one of the few people who does that, and she was breathing to Hoshi's side, so she was able to see her going all the way down the pool, and that had to motivate her. Hoshi, I'm surprised, wasn't able to go the 205 that she had gone in nationals earlier this year, but you know, I think, I don't want to say it's the weather, but I think that's probably one thing, but it's obviously a confidence booster for Camille Adams, who has always been right there. She's been in every major final since, I guess, probably 2009, 2010, so she's been always right there, just never been able to get on the top of the medal podium. And I think it says a lot about where American butterfly is headed, because I gotta tell you, we talk about this a lot in the States. American women's butterfly is lacking right now, but I think Camille Adams and even Katie McLaughlin, who got third with 207.08, is really making a statement that, you know, maybe even next year, and definitely by Rio, it's going to be really USA on top in butterfly.
Yeah, it's a little bit when you watch a 200 fly, it's almost like watching a boxing match. Early on it's good and the athletes are moving well, and then that last 50 metres is like the last minute of the round. They're just barely keeping their hands up, they're breathing every stroke, the strokes are getting shorter, the kick's starting to drop, and they're just hanging in there for the wall. To me, it was probably the feel-good swim of the wall, because when she hit it was like, man, I've made it. It's a breakthrough for me. You could really sense that, and that was a really happy moment for her. She celebrated.
And I got to tell you, Wayne, it's a big breakthrough for Katie McLaughlin. She was at the Junior World Championships last year, and now she's on her first senior level international team, and she's got a medal, and now she qualified for World Championships. I mean, this is major steps forward, and she's 17 years old. She's going to be a senior in high school. I mean, this is, you know, obviously we see a lot of young ladies doing well, but to be able to do that in the 200 butterfly, where it's, I wouldn't say it's a young person's event, because you've really got to be mature to be able to do well in that. To see her do so well, and it says a lot about, like I said, the American butterfly is really coming back.
Yeah, and for so many years, the United States set the pace of butterfly with the great Mary T. And I wonder how much that shadow has been cast over the next generation or two of butterflies. And you've had some great butterflies that have come through since, but yeah, maybe it's time for someone to really step up and be a dominant force.
Yeah, it's always hard to get over that hump of beating a legend. I mean, a lot of people were waiting for the next Janet Evans, and we had Kate Ziegler for a while, and now we definitely have Katie Ledecky. So I think once one person does it, then it's easy for everyone else to follow. All right, so the second to last event of the night was the men's 200 butterfly. This was an interesting tactical race. Everybody taking it out a little bit slower than I thought they would, but Diaceto, who has made some promise in this event in the past couple of years, finally getting through 154.92, a very respectable time. Leonardo Dedeos, who I gotta say, when I was making medal predictions for this event, I said he was a dark horse. I said he's possibly gonna medal, but I didn't really think he'd get through. He defied my expectations, 155.28, a great swim for him. And then Tyler Clary of the United States getting third, 155.42. Like I said, the times are okay. I mean, Chad Close probably doesn't have anything to worry about right now, but I think it's really saying something that, you know, we keep harping on the conditions here, but, you know, the later it gets in the night, and obviously this was swum at about 8:30 at night, you know, it's a little later than most of these guys are probably used to swimming. It's getting colder, and to be able to step up on those blocks and just be able to race, I think says a lot about it. And, you know, if you're a 200 flyer, you're tough anyway. So to be able to do that says a lot about not just the top three guys, but all those 8 guys.
Yeah, I think we've seen that's been the pattern of racing all night, is there have been some swimmers who've turned up who look like they've been prepared to win, to deal with the competition, to deal with the conditions, and have done it hard. I agree with you, it wasn't probably the best race of the night, but it was a good race, it was a tough race, and in the end it was just that dogfight, those last 5-6 strokes, and who could hang on to the wall. It was an interesting finish too, because he just lunged, just got there, he was almost in no man's land, where he could have taken another stroke, he could have taken a risk, and I think that would have cost him, and he would have got caught right on the line. But very good tactical race, raced well, great finish.
And he's going to be definitely one to watch. He and Tyler are going to be racing in that 400 IM tomorrow, and I think Tyler's out for blood because he's looking forward to making sure Dia doesn't get on top of that platform again. All right, so you were talking about dog fights, and this men's 1500 was a dog fight. You had 2 Australians, 2 Americans, and a Canadian. Those guys were really the ones that were kind of battling it out after the field started to separate. And I guess for a while it looked like Ryan Cochran had it pretty much in the bag, and he, you know, after his Commonwealth Games swim where he went 14:44, you kind of thought he's got this. Nobody else can touch him. Then here comes Connor Yeager, last 200. Pulling closer and closer and closer, and I'm sure the American team was just like, what's going on? Because I don't think anybody expected Connor to win. Connor said in the interview he didn't expect to be able to beat Ryan, and here he is. Now he's a gold medalist at Pan Pacs, 14:51.79, 2/10 ahead of Ryan Cochran, 14:51.97, and then Matt Horton from Australia getting third, 14:52.78. Times aren't that great. Obviously, Ryan Cochran a little off from his Commonwealth Games time. Matt Horton a little bit off his Commonwealth Games time, but you know, it's all about the racing, and they all did pretty well, and I think that's what matters. And you know, I think it's hard for people like Ryan and Mac and even Jordan Harrison, who got 4th, to be able to do 2 tough 1500s in a month. I mean, that's a big ask for them to do.
Yeah, and it was an interesting race too, because I was doing straight rates all the way through, and these guys, big, strong, tall guys, long strokes. They're rating low 30s, and they were all going along. And it was all like, almost like a bunch of guys that were far too polite to each other, almost saying, hey, you go now. No, you go now. They're all waiting and looking at each other. No one was prepared to make a statement and say, let's go. All of a sudden, the Canadians taking the rating up about 10 strokes a minute, put a little bit of pressure on, and like you, I thought, it's all over.
Yeah.
He's gone. But Jaeger came back, and he fought again. Great finish. Really tough guy there. Man, I'd like to see him. Where is he going to be the next 2 or 3 years? Where's he going to go? Because he looks pretty tough.
He's always been one of those really tough swimmers, and I think this gives him the confidence. I think he was probably not happy that he got 4th in the mile last year at World Championships, and he's been putting in the miles, and now he's done with his college eligibility. Now all he has to think about is World Championships and the Olympics. Not to say the college season kind of, gets in the way, but it definitely does kind of get in your mind of, okay, I've got to put this Olympic focus aside for a while. So now that's all he has to think about, and I think this gold medal, he's going to take it back. He's probably going to hang it somewhere and say, this is just the start.
Yeah, well, and so he should, because he was patient. And it's really tough, I think, when you can smell that last 200 metres coming, to be patient. But he really waited. He timed his run expertly. He brought his kick in, which was very strong and very powerful, and he swam away and he swam over the top. Against, look, some good young swimmers coming through. Yeah. Australia's very happy with Mac Horton and think that he could be maybe a Hackett type swimmer coming forward, and he swam really well, but look, Jaeger just too good.
Yep. All right, so the lights are going out on us. We just want to thank you all for joining us for today's race day. We'll be back here tomorrow. Thanks for watching.
What about that?